Hello and welcome to Some Dude Shed podcast. This is a news special. We will be covering a very big story because, as we all know, there is a very big conference going on called COP26. Basically, the super important climate meeting between the super important people about super important stuff.
What's it stand for again?
Climate something 26. I actually don't know what it stands for.
That's actually what I'm looking up now. It just says UK COP26 UN Climate Change Conference.
Climate overheating. Please help. He gives a shit.
Well, anyway.
Summit will bring parties together to accelerate action towards the goals of the Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Conservation on Climate Change.
Well, so this amazing thing brought a lot of world leaders together, and more than just world leaders. So it's worth talking about how they got there, how they got to this climate. Being very climate conscious, I'm sure they chose very efficient ways of getting to their destination.
Oh, they all got on the massive bus, just one big bus. Is that how they did it?
Now you see if they chose an electric or solar powered bus, then yeah, that would be great. But they didn't.
Or walk like a pilgrim.
The reports around the local airport to Glasgow say that there were 400 flights. And there weren't 400 planes. There were about 400 flights. So there's planes going backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Of private jets for people attending the conference. Now, I'm no expert on vehicles, but a private jet isn't the most efficient way to cover a load of miles, is it?
Nah.
No, I don't think so.
No. I think per person is probably the most polluting way you can travel, right?
Well, I seen a news article that said it was 400 flights made up more than a few hundred people's carbon emissions within a year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Sure, even that was it that Ursula recently, the EU.
Oh, the EU Council President.
Yeah, like Ursula von der Leyen. I keep saying von der Leyen isn't from Red Dead Redemption.
It's von der Leyen, isn't it?
Von der Leyen, aye. But she got on the plane just to travel 30 miles in the last week.
30 miles. You'd struggle to find two airports quite close.
It's like they're trying to burn all the fuel, so there's none left.
I was just thinking, like, that's probably the quickest way to get there, but is it really by the time you get on the plane, do all the safety checks and take off and then land again?
Well,
Depends
surely
how far away you start, I guess.
Yeah.
30 miles away.
30 miles away? No, that's stupid. You'd better just hop it in the car.
I don't know, unless it was over water or something. I don't know. I did find out though what COP stands for. Conference of Parties.
Conference of Parties.
Nothing says green energy like Conference of Parties.
Nothing about the climate at all. Brilliant.
Sure, like even in regards to traveling, didn't Biden? He was over in Italy seeing the Pope, wasn't he, recently?
Yes, he was. I think he went to Italy just before he came to Scotland.
Yeah.
And he was in an 85-car motorcade.
85 cars.
85 cars.
Electric, I hope.
Oh no. And I'm pretty sure he would have had the Beast with him, which is the presidential car, which is
Cadillac, isn't it?
Yes, which is extremely efficient.
Nothing says efficiency than a giant 5-ton petrol powered armored car.
Who knew?
With 80 friends.
No, 85 car, because apparently it was to do with the Italian COVID rules, where it was something like it was only up to 3 people could be in the same car if they're not from the same household or family or something like that.
So why does he need 80?
His entire crew.
He's got a lot of mates from different houses.
He's got his entire entourage.
I see.
And is probably his own private SWAT battalion with him as well.
That's a bit much, when if we look at the UK. I mean, what does our guy drive around? And he has an armored Jaguar, I think, and that's it. He doesn't have a convoy.
No, and I'm pretty sure he only has like a chauffeur and one protection officer.
Yeah, he's got one bodyguard. He doesn't do a very good job. Do you remember that time when some guy just ran into David Cameron?
Oh yes, and he was actually surrounded by 4 protection officers at the time, which is the best bit.
He just ran into him. But anyway, here we go. I digress. On the subject of cars and the climate conference, the Scottish government thought it would be a lovely idea to pick everybody up from the airport in rented electric cars and Teslas and stuff like that.
Well, at least that's eco-friendly.
Yes, that sounds like a very nice idea.
Yeah, it is, until you realise that they didn't have enough charging points at the airport or at the conference area.
Really? Are you saying they had an entire fleet of electric vehicles that they couldn't charge properly?
Yeah. Well, actually, no, they could charge them properly. They hired out a load of diesel generators.
Does that not defeat the purpose, though?
Yeah, doesn't
Diesel.
Yeah, so they burned a load of diesel to charge the electric cars to go and get the people for the climate conference.
Would it not have just been more efficient to just have a diesel car instead?
Yes. Yeah, probably would.
Hmm.
Transfer of energy rules and all that.
Who knew?
Because a diesel generator doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so the getting to the climate conference is a massive farce, right? So surely something important must be happening there, spending all this fuel to get there. So I had a quick look at who's going. Not only do you have the important politicians, except for the Chinese one, we've also got Leonardo DiCaprio making an appearance.
I don't believe Vladimir Putin went either.
Oh, what a shame. I'm sure he would have been very popular.
He would have. He is in Russia.
So
Is he known for being like eco-aware, like Putin? I mean,
I think
I don't believe so.
I don't know what if Russia has any kind of climate thing. I think they're more economy based at the moment.
Well, they export a hell of a lot of natural gas to Europe, and I believe China. I'm not entirely sure about the China part, but yeah, if he was to sign up to this, I think it would probably cut in on their economic growth.
Not to mention cut into the price of heating our houses.
Yes, that too. Well,
mhm.
Europe's houses.
Yeah.
Was it like an invitation thing though? Like, was just he wasn't invited, or he's like,
I
bugger
think
this.
it
I'm not going
was
to get on a
I think
plane.
everyone was invited.
All right.
Maybe he was just too climate conscious and didn't want to take a private jet.
Yeah. He's
Yes.
like, oh, just do it on Zoom. No, I can't do it on Zoom. I have to do it in public person. Oh well.
So anyway, we go back to who else was there. Leonardo DiCaprio was there.
Oh yes.
It's a star-studded
Very
climate
very
convention.
important. Yeah. I mean, you can't do a climate conference without an A-list actor.
I'm sure a guy who pretends to be other people every day had something very critical to say.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a lot of influence. Ellie Goulding was there, the famous singer.
Hmm.
Well, famous.
She is pretty big. Like,
I think she's more famous for her remixes, or remixes of her. But
Can any Americans recognize who Ellie Goulding would be?
I think she's big up there too. Like, well, I mean, she was massive at one stage. Famous, I mean, like, but, I mean, like,
yeah,
like she was definitely at a peak, in like the last load of years.
Hermione Granger was there as well.
Huh?
Emma Watson.
Oh right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, she was there. I mean, I don't get it, right? I mean, Emma Watson seems to be quite a clever person. Why is she doing politics?
Because
Maybe she got bored of being an actor.
But acting, you actually make a difference when you're an actor,
I haven't actually seen her in anything in recent years.
She was in that Beauty and the Beast remake, which
That was like
That was
4
like
years
a few
ago.
years ago now, wasn't
Yeah.
it? The Beast from The Chase made an appearance.
Oh, the biggest celebrity.
He is definitely a very big celebrity. Yeah, I mean, like, why they showed up, I'm not really sure. What difference they're going to make, apart from maybe using a private jet, to add a little bit more pollution into the air when they arrive.
Well, they needed him to add up all the, work out the carbon footprint of the whole thing.
No, they just needed him to remember all the green facts
All right.
that nobody else seems to know.
So what else? There's a load of politicians there. Joe Biden was there, wasn't he?
Joe Biden was there, yes. So whenever the conference got underway, Joe appeared to have a wee nap midway through a speech.
I can imagine it was pretty boring. It wasn't his own speech, was it?
Oh no, fortunately not.
Right.
Well, I can't really blame him, to be fair. I would have had a wee kip as well.
I mean, to be fair, listening to like the 15th person telling you how important the climate crisis is and how we need to tackle it with solidarity would get a little bit tiresome.
Yeah.
Wasn't it also another thing? I heard he had a bit of a toilet accident, or is that just a rumor?
Well, apparently he had a toilet accident in Rome.
Oh,
There was a bit of a rumor. Apparently the motorcades had to stop for some reason, and someone in the background made an off comment about toilets and an accident.
Oh, yeah.
And the media picked up on that.
So he was letting off some ambitions of his own, was he?
I guess
He
so.
was doing his own pollution.
It's only speculation, though, isn't it? Like, we don't really
No,
know.
it's only speculation.
Wasn't there something funny about the meals they were having as well? Were they serving something?
Oh, they were serving meat, and a lot of critics came out and said that would be like serving cigarettes at a anti-smoking conference.
Yeah, so
Like
So
filet mignon, stuff
not
like
only
that.
are they're going to the place with ridiculously inefficient means by flying and diesel generators, but they're also eating the food which they want to stop us eating in order to protect the climate. I mean, it's quite frankly, it's a whole load of cringe.
Like they're really heavy on, like they do keep attacking the whole meat eating thing. Like their excuse is not, well, animal welfare being one of them, but I think their main thing now is, was it like farming's not sustainable or something?
Too many cow farts.
Yeah, but like surely, like I've heard horror stories about like soy and all this other stuff, like soy farming, and like it is some actually soy farms. They cause like their carbon footprint of those are crazy, like really bad. I don't have the numbers offhand, like, but
Well,
they're out there.
if you mention meat eating as part of climate tackling, there's of course the crossover. Now this is going away from COP for a moment, but there's the crossover with British soap operas, which is currently underway. Basically, our leading soap operas of EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, and Hollyoaks, which are scraping the barrel a bit on the last one, but basically they're going to be doing some crossovers with environmentalism in mind. There's a lovely clip of these people from Coronation Street who are saying, "Look at what this guy from Watford has suggested and has got his town doing," and saying they're doing meat-free Mondays.
Wow. Well, I mean,
I think all the soap opera fans, I think they wanted a big crossover, but it's a bit cringe.
like I mean, I just don't understand how this really solves the problem. I mean, like, to be fair, there's days I go there I don't eat meat. It's a rarity.
To
But
be honest, there's days where you go without eating anything.
oh yeah, I suppose. But
I try my best to eat at least 2 animals a day.
Whole animals or 2 different types?
Oh, 2 different types.
Okay.
5 animals a day.
You gotta have your 5 a day. So,
yeah, I think what does turn most people off the whole thing is the fact it's very preachy. Like they're getting all these celebrities. It's in soaps. It's everywhere now. Like I see it in advertisements all over the show, and it's just very preachy. It's like and some of them are actually borderline insulting. It's like, well, what's your excuse? One of the adverts I saw recently
what
was
they
like,
say about going to the gym. What's your excuse?
No, well, it might be actually. Like probably like a Nike advert or something like years ago. But no, there was one I saw recently. It was like there were like kids on the TV and they were like shouting at me. It's like, stop shouting at me. I was like, what's your excuse? We're the future and you're wrecking our. And I'm just like, I'm just sitting here. Leave me alone.
Is going to the gym eco-friendly? Because if you have to travel there by car or bus, I can't imagine it would be.
Well, yeah, there's that. Also, like you're sweating a lot. I'm sure that's got to make some emissions.
Well, if it's on the way home, not really. You know what I mean? If it's on your journey or on the way to work.
What's this about the tax the rich dress all over again?
Oh, it just reminds me of the whole tax the rich dress thing.
Yeah.
Like all these really rich people, celebrities and everything going to a gala.
Telling all the poor people how to live.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure 99% of those people like are tax dodgers. And they probably do it through legal means, like I don't know, offshore accounts or whatever, but can you honestly say that all those people are paying their fair share? I highly doubt it. And it's just the irony as well of having that dress, just super expensive dress, with
It says tax the rich.
tax the rich on it. It's like, well,
I think the most ironic part of it was the woman who made the dress, her husband or boyfriend, pretty sure it was a husband, was the heir to a multi-million-dollar fortune.
Well, they're all like, they're all cut from the same cloth. It's like it's just rich folks telling poor folks how to live.
Well, if we're talking about protests and things like that, there's one group of people that we have to mention.
Was it? What did they come as the name of Enslaved Britain or?
Yes, yeah, they're the ones.
Yeah.
Those crazy people who glue themselves to the road. I mean, they're an absolute menace. To be honest, I mean, they glue themselves to the road. They don't let anybody pass, even if it's like an ambulance or something. Important things.
Yeah, a woman got paralyzed.
That's right.
A couple of weeks ago.
She had she had a stroke or something like that, and then her son was taking her to hospital in the car, but lo and behold, traffic was blocked.
Yeah, it was the doctors that told
the glue testers.
Yeah, it was the doctors that told them if only she got here sooner, because they were stuck behind a road protest for 2 hours. I mean, like they're definitely doing good work. If you want if you want to ruin the climate movement, then the best thing to do is to really annoy people by sitting on the road. And
Or causing actual harm. by sitting on
everyone
the road.
in that traffic jam, all of a sudden didn't care about the climate after that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, did you just mention that as well? The whole car emissions, like the cars are just sitting there on the motorway, just running. You
just
know,
waiting to go, and
yeah. There's some poor fella in an electric car just watching the battery meter slowly go down. Oh, I know
That's
we get to
actually
a
a-
charger quick.
That's actually a very good point, because there'd be people at the front of the queue would know what's happening. You got the idiots on the road, and there'd be people, it would be logged up so far back. It would eventually get to the point where people don't know what's happening, and they're just sitting there in their cars,
Yeah, I think
fully
it's gonna be
on,
like-
thinking it's going to move any minute.
could be a crash or something.
Yeah.
As far as they know.
I'd say traffic, like
Not for a while, though.
I don't know. I'd say they'd be fairly. I mean, they'd be checking the news and stuff. They'd be like, "What the hell's going on?" They'd be sitting there. They'd be like, sly on the slide, just looking at their phone, going, "What the hell's going on here? Is there a crash or something?"
They're not rational people. Wasn't their leader on Good Morning Britain or something like that? And they asked. I mean, their whole point is they want to get the government to insulate everybody's houses. It's like, okay.
Well, they seem to want to take the government. Well, a radical change in the economy is, I think, the ultimate goal.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had this guy on Good Morning Britain, and they basically asked him the question: "So is your house insulated?" And he refused to answer and stormed off.
As
So-
you would,
Yeah, rational people.
Yes.
But like, it's sure they had another. I think they replaced him with another
It was a woman
one this time.
who
Yeah.
got asked the question, "How would you feel if it was your mother who got paralysed because of protesters?" And all she could reply was she could only think about her kids in a 2-degree increase world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm not having to go at people who are having kids. Like, if we don't have kids, it's your own bloody life. You do that. But if you're going to do one single thing in your life that's going to cause the biggest carbon effect is having a kid, because they're going to grow up, they're going to buy cars, they're going to, just burn it. Like, you know what I mean? That's like this. And this woman had like, I don't know how many kids she
I
had.
think she did too.
Yeah.
I
And
think she said you did.
yeah, because that was her main point. Her main point was like, the future, like, our kids are in danger. Our kids are going to be dead. We're going to face extinction in 5 years if we don't do something.
And see, what I'd like to see is a load of climate protesters, just like that, right? The posh kind with the grey hair, going out
Well,
around.
see, she was on benefits, I think.
Going to in July, going around the estates of Northern Ireland and sitting around a ring around the bonfires that they're making, getting them, stopping them from lighting them.
I don't think that would end very well.
That would go very well, wouldn't it? That would be a conflict I would love to see.
It's kind of like going and protesting climate change in China. I don't think that would end very well either.
I didn't think so. No.
No, their wind farms are actually powered by diesel. Yeah, hear about that?
I don't know if it's diesel generators. I heard something that their wind farms are actually powered by power.
Are you suggesting they're fake?
I don't know if this is true, but I heard that apparently there's wind farms in China where they literally power them off the power grid. They don't turn by their own accord, and they just turn them on to make it look nice whenever people come to take PR shots for them.
Amazing.
Yeah, so they're just like show off. It's like when they're window dressing windmills.
It's almost like you can't trust the Chinese government.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
The most honest government ever.
China are amazing.
So-
But just quickly, just before, I just want to mention after those people on Good Morning Britain, yeah, it's just the road protesters as well. It's the other end of the spectrum where it's like, you have the elites that are preaching, live like this, do this, don't do that, that's bad. So there's there's the preachy side of it, which
And
turns people off, and then you've got,
the zealots on the road.
yeah, just because they're like, fair enough, like most of those people are just just average Joes, like they're not you wouldn't go as far as to say they're elites, but they're like it's just they're I don't even know what I'm bloody it's
I don't know.
they're trying to annoy people into doing it, which is just going to turn them off even more.
Well, speaking of elites, it's great whenever they give a speech.
Love it.
It's like they talk for 20 minutes and don't actually say anything.
Yes.
They talk about,
That,
in obscurities and
that-
just
that-
very vague. It's like,
that kind of leads me on to on what I guess we could finish on. Would be the climate drinking game, which you can play at home. What you need is a drink, preferably a big one because you're going to be drinking a lot. And you need some clips of either climate protesters, politicians talking about the climate, or celebrities talking about the climate. And what you got to do is you take a drink every time somebody says the word tackle, every time somebody says the word solidarity. Every time somebody says the word generation,
Did they say Build Back Better?
I think that's pretty much limited to Mr. Biden, right?
No, Boris Johnson's percent.
Oh gosh.
And if I spoke other languages, I'm sure other leaders have been saying it.
Well, you can add that to the drinking game, I guess.
Did anybody say Great Reset during this?
No, you're not allowed to say that, but
You're not allowed to say that anymore.
Really?
But the drinking game's not over. You also take a drink every time someone has a long, impassioned speech, and they don't mention any policy ideas at all. It's like you'd be amazed. You mean you watch 5 of those speeches in a row, and nobody has any ideas.
we need to make the world a better place.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like we need to do this. Somebody needs to do that. It's
For
like,
more
well,
vulnerable countries around the world.
You also take a drink if somebody has a long, impassioned speech about how bad it's going to be with a 2-degree rise, without actually saying what's going to happen.
Well, what do you mean you don't know what's going to happen in a 2-degree world?
Well, what's going to happen is...
I have no
does that
idea.
mean,
They
like,
haven't actually told me.
Is corn going to stop growing?
Apparently
Is Belgium going to flood?
Apparently so.
you'd be able to grow oranges in Britain.
No one seems to have any idea. You also take a drink every time you see a protester saying something like, "This politician needs to do more." Brilliant advice there from the protesters.
See, that's they're at least they're doing something. Like you see, you see these companies on. I keep seeing adverts all the time. They all seem to come in a wave all at once. Say it's like an advert for a bank, and you're expecting these loans 0 and all this stuff or 3% interest and all, but it's not that. It's just like we are doing our part to help the climate and stuff. It's all just like a climate advert.
Yeah.
We're aiming to be net neutral or zero.
I don't
zero
care.
emission.
Tell me about your interest rates on mortgages.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm sort of going, why are they just talking about climate stuff instead of their...
And the last thing, you take a drink every time a random date in the future is mentioned.
Like 2050.
Yeah, like we're going to
2070.
We're going to go climate neutral by 2030 or whatever it is, or 2050,
or 2070.
2070 for India.
Just being any Nostradamus moments.
I mean, if you watch the COP coverage for an hour,
actually,
you're going to be absolutely bamboozled with vodka.
You're going to be fucked in the first 10 minutes.
Speaking of random dates in the future, have China announced a random date in the future to go carbon neutral? Being the biggest polluter and all.
I'm not sure they have.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that would be the most potent?
I heard somebody say that they're the leader in the climate, like the Go Green thing, and it was somebody official. It was like on some sort of news channel.
They say that
somebody
themselves?
mentioned it. Yeah, they said it. Well, they said it themselves. Yeah. Or, no, not China. No, it was on a news channel recently. They were like, "Oh, China are actually becoming the leader." And
Does
like,
this go
really?
along with their windmills?
Probably, yeah. They'll probably see the windmills and go, "See, they're doing it."
Leonardo DiCaprio is there just clapping at the windmills.
Champagne.
Yeah. So
Jumps on his private jet and away.
Yeah.
So there we go. I think is that enough? I think should we finish with
Finish with there was protests outside, and you can't have a climate protest without we all know who.
yes, good old Saint Greta.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is she with the Enslaved Britain people, or is she just there with her own crew?
She was at protests outside the COP26 thing. I don't know if she was.
She's just herself.
Yeah, because I just pointed out. I just want to point out as well. Like these guys, they want the government to insulate our houses, but I think to buy a big roll of insulation is like £25. Like it's really not expensive if you want to do it yourself.
To be fair, again, if you don't know how to fit it, it's quite. You got to pay someone else a few hundred.
If you can literally just throw it in the loft, you like even
you just get
my house is just thrown down.
You just get a load of fuzzy stuff and put it in the loft. It's not.
Yeah, but like it's somebody made a really good point as well. Just about how governments are very inefficient and that their pricing of things. Some guy worked out he did it in most simple terms, but for £20 you would spend on office supplies. A government office would spend £100 on the exact same stuff. The way it worked out, so basically, like I don't know why it's more expensive for them.
So they got a lot of money and they just throw it away, I guess.
Yeah, it's like instead of spending like £1 on a like empty notebook or something, they end up for some reason every notebook is worth £3. Like it's just super inefficient. Especially if they were to pay for insulation, they'd pay like way over the top for it.
Well, anyway. Greta Thunberg was there and a crowd of people, and the crowd started chanting, "Shove your climate crisis up your
I think we're allowed to say ours. So.
Ours.
Yeah.
So there's a clip of that going around, which is quite funny. I think that was the way that's clipped. It's kind of counter to her overall narrative.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it, to be honest.
No, I don't really get it either.
Shove it up your. Yeah. It doesn't sound like something she
It's
would
not
usually say.
Yeah, it sounds very anti going green, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So we should counter that with our own little climate message. As I say, we at Some Dude Shed, we commit with solidarity to go completely carbon neutral by the year 2060.
Yep. We just huddle together when we're cold.
Yep, we must make sure that we point out that we treat this climate emergency with its greatest importance.
We are in a sustainable shed. It's got insulation. It's got natural gas heating. I don't know if that's good anymore.
It's right next to me, burning away.
You're quite toasty, aren't you, Mr.?
I'm roasting.
Yeah. Gonna get some solar panels installed at some point.
That'd be a good idea, yeah.
Probably live in this shed. And I think we'll end with the...
Some dude shed says, if you're not using it, turn it off. Dead easy.
And on that note, I think we'll end with the immortal words of Greta Thunberg.
You can shove your climate crisis up your arse. You can shove your climate crisis. You can shove your climate crisis. You can shove your climate crisis up your arse.